Mark Shapiro, president of TKO. Mark Shapiro did an interview. He was talking about, there was a comparison, big compliment, but he was talking about the commissioner of the NBA and Dana White. And Mark Shapiro was maintaining that they have some real overlap in their behaviors for building stars. And I so badly wanted him to elaborate. I mean, I gotta tell you, I find that stuff so interesting. I know a lot of you don't. I find that stuff so interesting. I watched a show and you guys probably know about this, but there was a guy who could make boy bands. Know about this guy? I think he's in prison right now. Very successful guy, but he had a recipe. He had a recipe to take 4 or 5 guys that do music from a garage and make them superstars. He had a formula. And some of you out there will leave, oh, yes, he did, Chael, and I can even tell you what it was. Maybe. I don't think that you're right. I don't think that is what it is. I don't think no matter how many quotes that you have from the guy sitting in federal prison that he revealed it for you. I just don't. There's books out there cracking the YouTube code, the algorithm of YouTube. And it's written by people that used to be execs and worked at Google. And they're not right. It's garbage. Just to save you a little bit of time, I'll read the book. Most of the greats operate in a closed-mouth business. I tell you that about fighting all the time. There's not 5 men alive who have turned a buck in this business. Not 5 that are currently alive. There's 5 in history that have turned $1 into 2 in this business. Very hard thing to do. You can't go to any professor, talk to any college, any university, and take a class on fight promotion. You also can't go to any library and check out a book. And for those 5 over history, 3 of which are living right now, that can do that, believe me, they're not telling you how. I've had people come to me and say, I know everything about this sport. I've watched every interview he's ever done. Called misinformation. It's very common, but I'm only sharing this with you because before you tell me you got the recipe for boy bands, my theme is still true, which is there is a recipe, and there's a guy out there that knew it, and he proved it 3 different times. So, on the comment that the NBA commissioner and Dana White have this to build stars, I want to know what it is. And the basketball one, I really found that to be compelling, because in my lifetime, and I can only speak to my lifetime, like I just met Wilt Chamberlain was this huge star, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, he played a little bit, I was a little boy, but I'm just talking about like that era, Mel Counts, like the real greats of that time, and then I was born. So in my lifetime, there's a guy named Spud Webb, who you may or may not remember. Larry Bird, who I assume you will remember. Magic Johnson, of course, Michael Jordan. And what those guys all had in common was really big numbers. Like, yeah, they were stars. They were the ones getting the media. And they were then getting the endorsements. And they were the ones doing the commercial for Snickers or for McDonald's or for the shoe company. But they also had the highest numbers. They were the ones that were scoring the most points. They were getting the most rebounds. In my lifetime, in basketball, being a star was 100% correlated to your numbers, meaning how well you played. And if that isn't the case, teach me something. I don't want to miss it. I've always even maintained that the NBA wasn't building stars or even looking for them. That they knew the power and they knew the importance, but that they stood back and did what they did and a star got created and boom, they go, okay, thank goodness we have one. That's what it's always appeared to me. When they got help and they got somebody like Nike to dump $100 million into marketing to push the brand as a whole for a player and that player then to push a shoe, those were really helpful things that helped to elevate and build stars. I didn't know there was a formula. I didn't know there was a plan. I didn't know there was a press tour you could go on or certain games that you could have. Or do you put them in the second quarter and pull them out in the third? Like, what is that formula for a star within basketball if it isn't what I apparently ignorantly believed was directly related to the games that he played, the numbers that he was putting up, the success that he was having? And I know that that's not true in all sports. It's true in most. Baseball, that'd be another one. That'd be another one where you don't have stars. Football, there would be some exceptions. We had some stars, and they weren't very good players. I really enjoyed a guy because I was young. I would not enjoy him now. But there was a guy that played for the Chicago Bears. I won't even say he was number 8, and I don't follow football. His name was Jim McMahon. And Jim McMahon was one heck of a quarterback, apparently. I didn't get to see it in the pros. He was always hurt. And I do mean always. He'd go in for a minute, he'd get put out, he wouldn't go back in the game. This is just what I remember of him. But he was also on the team of the 85 Bears that won the whole damn thing. So it wasn't like he didn't have his moment. But I'm inserting that name because he took a lot of the brand, he took a lot of the media. Possibly nobody in my lifetime did that in football more than a guy named Brian Bosworth. And Brian Bosworth was from right up the road from where I'm sitting now. But it was hype. Cool haircut, couple of cool interviews. He had an earring. This is at a time when nobody had earring. I mean, it might sound small, but it all has to do with the time. And there wasn't any numbers within the league, and you can even back it off from there within the conference. You can even back it off there with the team that he was signed. There wasn't any numbers that were overly oppressive, but he was a big star. Recently, David Beckham. I don't follow soccer, but David Beckham, he's this handsome guy. He married one of the Spice Girls. I believe Poshy's beautiful. They got people that help him get ready in the morning. And call it designers telling you what to wear and combing your hair. I mean, everywhere he went, he just looks fantastic. But people that followed soccer told me he wasn't an overly great player at the time, that he had come to America and he was a huge star. He was on the cover of everything. That his numbers had gone down, that his age had picked up, and that his time in the sport was nearing its end. I'm repeating for you what I've never seen him play. I want to correct that because if that sounded bad, I wasn't looking to give him a hard time. What I'm sharing for you is that basketball specifically, I have not seen a star that I'm aware of get made. I haven't seen somebody grab a guy like, this is the guy. Okay, great. Why? Why is this going to be the guy? Well, he's 18. That's really helpful. But you're right. That is helpful. What else do you got? Well, hey, this guy can slam dunk like nobody else. Boom. That would be great. You're right. So we got the youngest guy and he can slam dunk over everyone. That's great. But I feel like if we keep going through that, we're just going to keep talking about his numbers. I don't think we're ever going to come to the part where, because he can rap and he can sing and he can dance and he can perform, and he's actually done Broadway plays and he's a multi-talented guy, and he's got 3 degrees. I don't think we ever get into any of that. I don't think in basketball, I don't think we ever get anywhere other than the numbers that he put up. And I say that because I could be missing it, could be right in front of me. See, I didn't see it with the boy bands. When this gentleman, I want to say his name was Lou. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? He's in prison. He ended up running a Ponzi scheme. But when he was putting up this recipe for boy bands, I had no idea. I had no idea how easily and how readily common it was to rig the charts. I didn't know there were certain things that you can do. I thought it was like, hey, who knows? Catch lightning in a bottle. Something hits at the right time. And then this guy came out. And he's like, no, it doesn't hit it sometimes. I do it. These aren't the best singers. These aren't the best dancers. Then as you get involved with American Idol, you start to see, wow, that really is true. It really isn't the best voice, is it? That's what we've always been told. The singer and the Grammy and sings the best. It's not true. There's a lot of things that go into it that make you an overall entertainer. And the guys that were big stars in the time of transistor radios and or regular radios, prior to a visual coming out, right, they didn't necessarily translate. You had to have different things that you could do. And I have seen fight promoters build stars. I have far more examples of somebody they set out to build a star that didn't work and why it didn't work. I've got far more examples, but I have seen it done, of course. Dana White has made stars, of course. He's one of the few people in all of sports. I would love to know, the commissioner specifically, I would just love to know. Mark Shapiro has me completely fascinated. I would love to speak to him. I'd love to have him on. I'd love to know what I'm missing. I've seen teams attempt to do it, and I've seen brands, right? I go back to Nike because they're 15 miles over my shoulder. I'm out here in Oregon. Phil Knight's just right back here. But the league as a whole that built stars, you have my full attention.